another top theological question that we're going to answer. And on this one, I'm just going to get very real with you. There are some people who are asking the question, why should I even bother to consider Christianity? Because Christians, and specifically church leaders, can be some of the biggest hypocrites in the world. And I would agree with that statement. In fact, over the centuries, Christians have sometimes, well, I want to put air quotes around the word Christians, have sometimes said one thing and done another. The word hypocrite means an actor who's wearing a mask, and what's real inside their heart is not at all what's coming out of their mouth, not at all how they're acting. And that's certainly been true for many centuries, and for many people around the globe. I want to caution you though, if we're just being honest with each other, and I'm trying to say honestly to you, yep, there's no question, there are lots of people acting in the church. There are lots of hypocrites in the church. We have to be honest and say, but that does not necessarily mean that Christianity is not true, that following Jesus is a mistake. What that means is that there's a lot of people who claim to follow Jesus, but their actions don't line up. And perhaps their actions don't line up because of sin. Maybe they really do believe the words that are coming out of their mouth, but they don't behave those words because sin has got a hold of their heart and has twisted their actions. And that's why their actions and their words don't line up. Maybe it's not sin. Maybe it's actually not sincere faith to begin with. And that's why I put air quotes around the word Christian a moment ago. I really want to strongly encourage you, don't discount Christianity because you've heard of hypocrites. There are no question hypocrites in the Christian church. But by the way, there are people of every faith on the planet who say one thing and do another. They all fit into the category of hypocrites. And I guarantee, I don't even need to know who you are. I don't even need to know where you live. I guarantee you have done that at one point in your life. You have said something and then turned around and done something opposite. Does that mean that everything that you believe is now a lie? I'm saying generalizing the tenets of the Christian faith based on the actions of Christian people is a mistake. Yes, the tenets of the Christian faith stand even when people who claim the name of Christianity don't live out those tenets. But I gotta get real with somebody who is not living out their faith right now. I'm trying to be real with the person who's watching this video and saying, why should I even bother? Because you Christians are hypocrites. And doesn't that prove that your faith isn't real? And my argument in this video is no, absolutely not. It doesn't prove that. What it proves is that there are a lot of people that are faking it, or there are a lot of people that are twisted. Their actions are twisted right now. But that does not discount the veracity, the truth claims behind who Christ is and what he's done for you. However, I now owe it to the people that are watching this video who are damaging the claims of Christianity because of your hypocrisy. Your actions don't line up with your words. Maybe it's just a simple mistake. Maybe it was temptation and you fell into sin. But there is a possibility, and I owe it to you to say this, that maybe your faith isn't real in the first place. Would it help you at all if you heard that Jesus recognized this from the very beginning about his followers? And not only did he recognize this, but he warned those that were following him about this. In other words, hypocrisy has been going on ever since Jesus was on earth. I will just take it back a lot farther. Hypocrisy has been going on ever since the first human beings sinned, and what they said with their mouth and what their actions showed did not line up. Jesus deals with this very powerfully and very specifically in John chapter 14. Now I'm going to read one verse from John chapter 14. I'm going to read verse 21 to you in just a second, and it'll be absolutely unmistakable. Jesus has no room for hypocrisy among his followers. But I want to point out something before we even get to verse 21. Jesus has already said the same thing a second time in John 14, verse 15. In that verse, Jesus says, if you don't keep my words, you don't love me. Because anyone who loves me will keep my commandments. In other words, it's not about what you say that you believe. It's about what you show that you believe that really matters. But in verse 21, Jesus leaves no room for discussion. There is absolutely no chance to get this thing or to talk your way out of it. John 14:21, Jesus says this to his disciples, those that are claiming to have faith in him. Those of you who accept my commandments and obey them are the ones that love me. Now, I want to point out, this whole verse is about obeying them. It doesn't matter how many times. You can say it 10,000 times. I accept, I believe, I acknowledge those commandments from Jesus. But that doesn't meet the criteria for verse 21. If you accept it and obey it, those of you who accept my commandments and obey them are the ones that love me. But listen to what Jesus says next about this category of people. And because they love me, my Father will love them, and I will love them and reveal myself to each of them. In this one verse, Jesus is making a hard distinction. There are lots and lots of people out there who claim to accept my teachings, who claim to believe in me. These are the hypocrites that we're talking about in this video, but they don't obey. And because they claim to believe but don't obey, they don't love me, is quite literally what Jesus is saying here. But what comes next should cause you to shake in your shoe. He says, because they don't love me, then my Father doesn't love them. I'm reversing the language here. Because they don't love me, my Father doesn't love them. I don't love them. In other words, they're not really my followers. So I want to go back to the original question that you've asked in this video. Why should I even bother to believe in Christianity? Because there's so many hypocrites out there. And my answer is, it's quite possible that those hypocrites are not Christians in the first place. Oh, they have all of the right answers to all of the test questions. They say all of the right things, but by their actions, according to Jesus in John chapter 14, verse 21, their actions don't show it. And by their actions, they don't love Jesus, and Jesus doesn't love them, and God doesn't love them, because they have distorted or damaged the reputation of God by saying one thing and doing another. Should I believe in the real Christian faith? Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Hypocrisy does not mean that the claims of Jesus aren't true. It just means that many people are claiming to follow him, but their actions don't line up. But at the same time, Jesus even makes it more clear. He says, if you love me, you're going to keep my commandments, verse 15. And if you keep my commandments, then you love me, I'll love you, the Father will love you. It's all awesome. If you don't keep my commandments, you don't really love me in the first place. In other words, you're not really a Christian, which goes right back to the question, should I really believe in Christianity because of all of these hypocrites? Yeah, because many of these hypocrites, most of these hypocrites, may not be Christians to begin with, and they're just saying the words, but it doesn't really mean anything to them. Apparently, according to Jesus, the words don't matter. It's the actions and the heart behind the words that matter. So can I believe in Christianity even though I see hypocrisy all around me? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. And I just tried to get real with you in this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
I can work with a guy